And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
Jesus Christ, what a return to the airwaves, or to the internet. Jesus Christ Almighty!
Guys, I got to tell you, Spencer's got to get his stuff together because I was sitting here just going nuts.
31 minutes into the hour, and all I'm getting from Joe are color bars. That's not a racist thing to say, by the way. Color bars are the different colors that usually align with this sound. That's all I was getting from Joe. For 30 minutes. Guys, listen, welcome back to The Bald Truth. It's great to be here. As you know, and first of all, if you're new to the broadcast, don't know who I am, why I'm here, why this other guy is here, the guy on your left. I'm Spencer Coburn, founder of the American Hair Loss Association, founder of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, author of The Bald Truth, The Truth About Women's Hair Loss, and kind of done a lot of things in this insane hair loss industry over the last 20 years. I've been doing this broadcast we're in our 21st season of talking about hair loss. So if you're new to the program, we're not here to sell you anything. You're not going to find any products or services being hawked on this broadcast. Not yet, anyway. There was a while when we had just that smell. There was a while when we had some mainstream advertisers on the broadcast, pharmaceutical companies, and but when we went online, I decided not to do that. We were contacted all the time by people selling different products and services for hair loss. And I'm like, you know what? We don't need to do that. We were here to provide you with anything and everything hair loss, but we're here to provide you with the truth. Now, I just got back from Manchester, England, where there was a lot of truth being preached by me and by a couple of other guys who decided to show up. And actually one guy, the guy on your left, Joe Tillman, the original hair transplant mentor, he couldn't make it, but he sent in a pretty powerful presentation preaching truth as well.
Thank you.
And I got to say that I am, initially I wasn't sure how some of the physicians took it, but as I'm in the hallway, as I'm, they're coming up to my booth, the radio booth, they're silently just tap me on the back and saying, dude, thanks. This was an incredible conference because of you and because of what we've done, what we all did together. And that really made me feel good, but it also made me feel like, man, this industry is even more fucked up than I thought. When guys who have come to the meeting that's supposed to signify change are secretly coming up to me to say how great that talk was. They're still afraid of the politicians, even at this meeting that was filled with people who wanted to affect change. Think about that, Joe.
No, it was amazing. I was watching what things were, what was going on with this, with your presentation and a few of the others that I was lucky enough to tune into. And it was, first off, I got to say this so that everyone can hear it. Your presentation created an air in the room that I don't know how to explain it, but it was like, there's some people that obviously didn't get it,
right? But
those that did get it, it's as if the blood ran out of their faces because they realized that their existence in this industry has a short-term
it's very limited
life.
It is.
Yeah, it's very limited.
It is essentially timed obsolescence at this point.
Yeah.
And I told them the truth. I'm like, listen, guys, if you are uninterested in participating in affecting, sweeping change in this field, then you might as well just walk out of the room right now, because in the not too distant future, this is not going to be an environment that you're going to want to work in or will be able to compete in. And only one person walked out of the room. I'm just kidding. Nobody walked out of the room. But, I think that woke some people up when I said, just get up and find something else to do with your lives. They were not expecting that. I'm not even sure if you were. I don't know if I was, actually. It kind of just came off.
I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised by it, but no, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Now I'm just saying your sound sounds like it's coming through your headset.
That would be bizarre.
Tap on your mic. Nothing.
Nothing? I hear it on my end.
No.
I think I know what's going on.
Not a big deal.
Right,
just want to let you know. So, guys, listen, phone number 888-659-3727. We can talk about politics all we want, but the reality is this was a significant meeting. I was actually shocked. I was told that a lot of people were going to show up, but when I saw how packed this thing was, I mean, literally, I guess it's better to have a slightly smaller space with, where it looks like it's like just overflowing with people, because that's kind of what happened. And I don't think they were prepared for as many people coming to this meeting as actually signed up. And it was refreshing. It really was. It was the first hair transplant conference that I had ever been to where, there's always a little bullshit and there's always some sly politics, but for the most part, everyone was there really to kind of to avoid that stuff, to go there to learn about the reality of what's happening in the industry, to kind of share their knowledge with their fellow colleagues. It didn't seem like an environment where they were overly concerned about the competition. It seemed like the information they were giving away. And this is the first time I've ever seen this. And guys, any doctor who wants to call and correct me if I'm wrong, but the information some of these docs were providing in their talks, the ones that I was able to see, was actually they were providing some of their, their trade secrets. I've known in the past, doctors have told me, well, I can't give away everything at these conferences. And I'm thinking, this is fucking medicine, guys. So you're going to hold back something, an important aspect of your technique, because you want to have a competitive edge?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But
go
ahead.
Sorry. By the way, how's my sound now? Is it better?
You sound fine. You're just not coming through your mic.
I just changed it. Okay, that's weird. Not sure what. Anyway, so what you just said actually reminds me of something that happened while we're on break. I actually had traveled to another clinic because I was going to be talking to this clinic about maybe coming on board with my website, my YouTube channel, and doing what I do.
Yeah. And
what you just said reminded me of this, because the mindset that this clinic had, this particular doctor had, where he didn't, or the technician that's working with him didn't want my camera showing how the FUE extractions were being performed.
Yeah, because she thought she figured out a specific way of doing it that was so unique to everybody else.
And there are 2 points that people need to understand. First off, no clinic has such a unique approach to performing FUE that they found the secret sauce that everyone's clamoring for. No one. Because anyone that's getting good results on a consistent basis, that's a secret sauce. Whatever the hell you're doing to get good results on a consistent basis, then that's the secret sauce. But it's different for every clinic. It goes along with the same line of the tool is only as good as the hand that wields it. So no clinic has some sort of secret hold on what works better than anyone else. It doesn't exist.
No.
And the second problem with this mentality, which is what you're just talking about, where they're leaving out crucial steps, is even if they did leave in those crucial steps for the whole world to see, almost no one would get it. Almost no one would understand, oh, well, you know what, if I just angle it slightly different, like obviously you can see in this, you know, this minuscule detail on video from a distance across the room, that now my results are going to really blow everyone's socks off. It doesn't happen.
No, and
I've seen that secret sauce shared in front of other clinics.
That's what I always tell these guys.
Their heads.
I tell these guys, look, I can give you the keys to the fucking castle, and you wouldn't be able to open the lock. You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't understand how to turn that key to open the lock. And that's the reality of the situation. I was very encouraged by all the young guys that came out. And these guys seem to be the most gracious and the most thankful. And there were some older guys, some guys who have been around for a long time. You know, one guy, this guy from Brazil, I'm not going to name him, but he's been around for like 30 years. And he came up to me in the elevators and he just shook my hand and he's like, you know, something like go get him. It sounded like go get him. And, you know, and well done. And that was, you know, I mean, this guy's been around for a long time and I know who he is. And, you know, these guys are all, you know, feel like they have to be attached, you know, by the hip to the ISHRS and to other organizations. They felt so reliant on these groups. And I just told them, listen, guys, you have a voice. You do not have to wait for permission to do the right thing for your own practices and for your patients. Because the people who are currently trying to pull those strings, you know what? There's a lot of hypocrisy there, a lot of bullshit going on. And for everyone who's listening to this broadcast right now, anyone who's considering having a hair transplant, anyone who is out there going online, listening to online influencers about their hair transplants, or just understand there is, and everyone has their motives. That's just the way that it is. Myself and Joe has figured out a way, and I've done this for a very long time, to be able to tell the truth and still make a living. That's not easy. Most people haven't figured that out. So what they do is they need to guide you in some cases in a, you know, sometimes an unsafe direction, sometimes kind of a padded direction. Sometimes, you know, people are just turning a blind eye to things and they're like, you know, fuck it. I'll just sell this. I had a good experience. And I'm going to go out there and talk about my experience. And while I do that, I'm going to sell all kinds of crap to you. Just, you know, take all the information that you get online, on the internet, on message forums, including mine, with a grain of salt. Understand that you have to do your own due diligence and your own research. I saw some shit at this conference that, you know, and people just talking and, you know, clamoring away about stuff that they've seen in their practice coming from other practices. You know, it's shocking what really goes on. We want to make everyone privy to this inside information, you know, give them insight into what's really happening in the field. And hopefully if enough doctors understand that we're doing this, and I think they're understanding that more, maybe they will correct their own course. You know what I mean, Joe? Good, because I can't hear a word you're saying. Not a word. I'm going to take some phone calls, though. I'm going to stop preaching. I'm going to take some calls. Turn on your mic. Phone number is 888-659-3727. No. It's like the Keystone Cops here. Not a word. Can't hear a word. Is your mic on, actually? I'll tell you what. I'm going to take some phone calls, guys. You guys have been holding on for a long time. And then hopefully we'll get Joe back. 888-659-3727. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello.
Is it me?
It's you. Who's me?
This is Bald Spot Barry from Denver, Colorado.
Bald Spot Barry from Denver. How are you? Welcome to the show, man.
I am doing great. I'm glad y'all are back on the air. I have been waiting for the last 2 or 3 weeks to call in.
Well, I'm glad you made it, and hopefully Joe will get a sound back. But while you're here, let us know about you. How long have you been listening to the show? What's your hair loss situation? Any questions you have?
Yeah, well, I come from a long line of Norwood Tillmans, and
Yeah.
I'm heading that direction. So
We really should rename
it.
it the Tillman scale.
It should be the Tillman scale because there needs to be a more appropriate and more detailed scale to go by. Because I don't fit exactly into the patterns that are on the scale that's used.
And a lot of people don't, and that's something that's been talked about. There is a surgeon in Pakistan who actually has created his own version of the Norwood scale, which seems to be a lot more accurate. And there's been a lot of people out there that have been worked on that. But the thing is, Hamilton Norwood, man, they just got in there, they made it happen, and everyone still refers to it as Norwood scale. And I have to say that it's a great name. Like I call it Norwood clocking when we like sitting around looking at who's losing their hair in restaurants and shit like that. So maybe we can make an addendum to it and just we can call it the Norwood Tillman scale. So what's up, man? So what's going on?
Well, I wanted to let y'all know that I did reach a milestone in Bald Truth history.
What's that?
And this started about 8 months ago. I started off on your YouTube website, and I went through and I listened to every show in order as I was doing. I've been doing a project in the garage, building a motorcycle, and so I just had the podcast in the background and listened to it. So I got through your complete playlist. I then went to Joe's website, or Joe's YouTube page, and I listened to every podcast, Bald Truth podcast, on his.
That's amazing, dude. Thank you so much. So you must like the show.
I love the show, So much I've listened to every one of them that I've been able to.
That's amazing. So, well, one day when I have some time, first of all, there's so many shows that have not even been put online that I have. And there are 21 years of air checks that eventually I'll have someone put up online.
Yeah, just recently I saw you did have a separate playlist of 2015 and back. And I haven't watched those, but pretty much since I guess Joe's been on the show, I've watched every episode now.
Yeah, I haven't handled any of that stuff. I've let the guys from Queens take care of that, and we really haven't put any emphasis on getting out there on YouTube. Now that I'm working with Joe on a regular basis and we're using his channel, we're really going to focus on that. But dude, that's incredible, man. So what's your situation exactly? How old are you?
Well, I'm 42 years old. I'll be 42 this year. My balding first got pointed out in high school when someone said, "Man, this girl said, you have a bald spot on the back of your head."
It's just
vicious. Oh yeah, it is vicious. Especially coming from a girl. A girl I've been flirting with, and she pointed it out, and
very nice.
That bald spot on the back has just continued to grow. Where now there's nothing back there in the back. Luckily, in my mid scalp, I still have some hair. My hairline is receded, but there's still hair there. So I've been on finasteride now for about 5 months. And currently, I am just waiting for the results.
I have to ask you a question. That's amazing to me because you're 42 years old. You started to bald in high school. Finasteride was approved for the application of hair loss as Propecia in December of 1997.
Right.
What made you hold off all these years?
I never did anything about it. I had other stuff going on in my life. And, I first started researching hair loss about 2 years ago is when I got interested in it, and researched it for, about 4 or 5 months, and then got busy with other stuff. And,
But that's interesting also. So obviously, while it was pointed out to you as a young person, it apparently didn't affect you emotionally that much because you didn't try to do anything about it. Which is good.
Yeah. I started thinking about it about 5 years ago. I saw a picture of the back of my head.
Right.
And it was the picture of a class I was in, and, I went on the internet and saw this picture, and it was the back of my head. And it was, I hadn't really thought about it, and it was glaringly obvious when I saw that picture.
Now, before then, did you get married? Do you have relationships? What was your situation like? socially.
And that's part of what kind of brought it up. Is I was married. I was with a woman for about 10 years. We were married about 5, and I got divorced about 2 years ago now.
Okay.
And so now, I'm on the market again, know, and now I'm very uncomfortable with my hair loss now because I need to attract a new mate. And,
but that's interesting as well, because you attracted you started balding at a young age. You attracted your first wife, and you probably had a decent sized bald spot by then.
Yeah, decent sized bald spot, but the front hadn't really started receding back then.
Okay.
It wasn't obvious from the front.
Yeah, and that's a huge difference. Joe, can't hear you, man. Hold on. Set up your headphones again. Can't hear a thing, Joe. Sorry. He's so frustrated. I'm moving the camera on because he's so frustrated. But that's huge. A lot of people, I've spoken to people who are like, you know what, I kind of, they hate their bald spot. They would prefer to lose their hair in the front, which is insane to me because that's what frames your face. That's what really affects your appearance. The best way to start losing your hair, especially at a young age, is to start from the crown. And if you retain your mid-interior scalp and your hairline, then you are gold for a long time. But, and this is also, I think, interesting information for the younger guys who say, you know what, I don't care, what happens when I'm in my 40s. All I want to do is get my hair back now. They go for these really aggressive hairlines that some hair transplant surgeons are willing to perform and sell them. And they don't realize that when they are in their 40s, they're going to care about the way they look.
Yep.
Absolutely. Just like you. Look, I'm 54 years old, man. I'm, I care. I mean, I paint my bald spot. That's my reality. I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't like this. And I do the whole, cover up and the hairspray, and that's how I live my life. And that's just it.
Yeah, it's, that now that the front has started to recede, I'm seeing it now. And, when I was younger, I had a lot of self-confidence issues. I was not confident. And in my 20s, I grew into myself and, gained self-confidence and had a good self-image. And, now that I'm getting older, the hair loss has really brought back on that. It's bringing on that lack of self-confidence now. And it's a bad feeling to be in that position and not be confident in how I look now.
Well, and this is interesting and again, I keep saying it's interesting because it is, because I actually received, I'm not going to read it on the air, but maybe I will at some point. I received an email that was forwarded to me from a woman who was in her 40s that said that her husband or her boyfriend is obsessed with the bald truth and that we are doing men a disservice because we're just telling people to take medication and do this and do that as opposed to just accepting their hair loss. So, I wanted to write back and just say, well, maybe you should listen to the show because our whole, mantra is acceptance first. If you can deal with it, the best way to fight hair loss is not to fight it at all. Just accept it, shave your head, move on with your life. And but there are guys like you, guys like me, that are just not equipped to deal with it. So where the fuck else are they going to go? That's why we do this show. We don't tell people they should feel embarrassed or ashamed or uncomfortable in their own skin because they're losing their hair and you have to take X, Y, and Z medication. She actually said that she thinks that we are somehow connected to, we get some sort of kickback from pharmaceutical companies or some sort of, product manufacturers to tell people to take this stuff. And then there are guys like you that need a place like this. Millions of them. Go ahead.
I wouldn't have come across it if I hadn't been concerned about it and felt bad about it. It's not like I just stumbled onto your show and had no problem with my hair loss.
It's not like all of a sudden, hey, let's see what the show is. Well, maybe I am going bald. Holy shit. That's unusual. It usually doesn't happen. Usually the way people find us is exactly the way that you did. You're concerned about your hair loss. You start to do research and you just stumble upon the program. So tell me, you've been on finasteride for 5 months. How do you feel on it?
I believe I went through an effluvium.
Okay.
And it seems like I've lost more hair in a short period of time. And so now I'm just waiting on those long-term results. And, I've made the decision that I'm not going to make any more decisions for at least a year. And, once I hit that year mark, then, I'll evaluate my other options. But for right now, I want to give it that full year to see how it's working for me. That way I can, not take the drug if I don't have to, if it doesn't work, or if it works, then great. I can move on from there and evaluate my different options.
Listen, absolutely. And I think that it's very common to go through, like you said, the effluvium or telogen effluvium when you start using this drug or anything that could actually work. And a lot of guys panic. They don't give it a full shot. There is a good chance, because usually that's a sign that the drug is doing something. So it means it will probably end up working for you. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. You'll probably start to see hair growing back in the next few months. And possibly after a year, I would give it longer than a year. Honestly, you could talk to your doctor about this. And I have to preface this by saying that I'm not a physician, but, I've known guys who have believed they were not doing well on it, but they stayed on it just because, they figured, why not? And, after, 18 months, all of a sudden they're like, you know what? It's working.
Yep. And I didn't freak out about it, because I have to give that credit to you and Joe. And it's the information that you have put out there to, let me know that that's normal, Since I've been listening to the podcast, I've gotten and absorbed that information. So, y'all gave me the confidence, number one, to take the drug. And, number two, when that effluvium came and I seemed to lose more hair, I knew that was a normal process.
Yeah, and and you didn't panic, where a lot of people would. You might have gone online, you would have read all the stories of guys who are panicking. And, so I'm glad you found the show. I feel really. I actually the person I feel bad for right now is Joe Tillman, because he's trying to get the shit together. He can't. So listen, dude, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. I'm glad that you found us, and just keep us posted.
I will. And before I go, I do have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, I wanted to ask about Dr. Dennis. It seems a couple of years ago he seemed to be a really up and comer, kind of a diamond in the rough. He was with your organization. He seemed to be really active, and
he still is. I mean, here's the thing. Essentially, the Turkish market really took a nosedive. He could not essentially afford to be a part of what we're doing. Even though I would have no problem providing him with some sort of a, like an emergency, discount. I mean, like I said, Turkey is really falling apart. But he made some, certain decisions to kind of step away from, being internationally visible. And he's just kind of keeping to himself and doing his own thing. I think that he's still putting out some really good work from what I see. I noticed that there are some people that are trying to kind of spam, different sites. I don't know if it's him directly or people that, that think they're doing him a favor. But I actually think that if you're considering going to Turkey, he is definitely someone to consider.
Good. Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know if it was a business thing like you just described, or whether there were problems. So that's good to hear. That
No. We had no complaints about this guy, and he's listen. He's one of the few guys in Turkey who still believe in providing strip. The fact that he's able to do it makes him, in my view, a real hair transplant surgeon, and I think he's a good guy.
Good. All right, that is great to hear.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. Don't jump into surgery though.
No. Like I said, I'm waiting to see the results from the finasteride. I'm taking one step at a time, like y'all have taught me.
All right, man. All right, listen. Good luck. Let us know what happens. Keep us abreast of everything.
I sure will. Thank
All right, man. I can hear you, Joe.
Yay! It works.
Holy shit! You want to say hi?
Goes back on.
Hello, who's this?
This is Bald Spot Barry in Denver.
Bald Spot Bear. Are you the one that's using the Tillman hair loss chart?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I actually overheard that part.
He's
of it,
a full-blown Tillman, he said.
That's a very, very cool statement. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I'm not there yet. I come from a long line of full-blown Tillmans, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and he's hoping not to get there.
I was going to say, you don't want to go there. So fight the fight, brother.
All right, Barry, listen, thanks for the call.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Phone number is 888-659-3727. Maybe we can get this right for the next hour.
I'm telling you, man, it's like you install one piece of software and it fucks everything up.
Destroys everything.
Destroys everything.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Patrick from Arlington. How are you?
Patrick from Arlington. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm thinking I might be a bit of a regular until I either pull the trigger on the hair transplant or buzz it all off and be done with it.
Okay.
But I had a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
I'm not sure if this was a recent episode or if it was an older one I was listening to, but Joe had mentioned something about dark, coarse hair and how that was a challenge, and that there were some doctors that were better at it than others. And that's sort of where I am. I mean, I'm half Latino, so I've got pretty dark hair, but my skin's not terribly dark, so there's quite a contrast. And I'm not sure I would call it coarse, but it was certainly its heyday was wavy and thick. And I'm just wondering if you have any recommendations on certain doctors that might be better at that, or the right questions to ask, or.
Sure, you're listening.
I've heard the first part about dark, coarse hair. Sorry, I missed the rest.
Yeah, he wants to know, and I figure I'll let you answer the question. He wants to know, you had mentioned that there are some doctors that seem to be a little bit more skilled or have more experience, guys who have coarser hair.
Yeah,
and
so how they ask to find out, like what questions to ask and how do you figure that out? Well, that's a great question. It's real simple. Every doctor you meet, if you've got dark, coarse hair, and they're sitting in front of you, or they're on Skype, or you're doing photos or whatever, ask that specific question. Doc, would you classify my hair as dark, coarse hair? Answer should be yes. Then you say, well, then how do you, Dr. X, avoid the appearance of plugginess? And single hair grafts is not the correct answer. I mean, it's part of the answer, but that is not the true answer that can help to alleviate that issue. Now, to be clear, there is no cure. There is no surefire way to avoid that factor of surgical hair restoration where you have black or really dark, coarse hair on very fair skin. Doesn't matter what anyone does. They can reduce the appearance of it looking like a hair transplant, but there will be signs that are a little bit more obvious to the trained eye, and in bad cases to the untrained eye, as compared to finer hair that isn't, where there's not such a contrast. Okay, so you got to ask them the question, what do you do to avoid that issue? And then ask them to show you examples that back that up, because if they can't show you examples, then it's all just fluff. Patrick?
Are there any doctors in particular that that are better at that, or do you not prefer not to give a recommendation?
I prefer not to get into that because I don't like to spoon feed things, and I know why you're asking, and people will be like, well, why don't you just tell them? But I believe that you need to learn this on your own, and there's nothing wrong with coming back and talking to us about the answers that you get. But what I won't do is I won't single out a doctor that might be better than the others for this, that, or the other. It really is up to you to figure it out, because you're the one that's going to be looking at the examples that they provide to you, that they hopefully provide to you, either through video, photos, or even hopefully through personal contact. Like if they can hook you up with a patient that might have your kind of characteristics. You
don't want to taint his decision making. You want him to be able to see as many physicians and have as many consultations as possible, and ask those questions.
Yeah, but ultimately, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So if you like what they're doing with hair that's like yours, then it's up to you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I would qualify as coarse. It's certainly dark, and my skin's fairly light. It's not super pale, but it's not, there's definitely a big contrast. So, okay, good to know.
Well, listen, I mean, the bottom line is if Joe would say, yeah, go to Dr. So-and-so, and you got fucked up,
I'd be,
you wouldn't be too happy, right? So you have to make your decision. Listen, all the doctors that we work with and that are either part of the IHS or that Joe works with personally are guys who have a really a certain skill set that has put them in this position, period. So you have to figure out who you like the most. Where are you located again?
DC area.
All right. I mean, DC area, that's a tough area. I mean, but you're close. I mean, you have some guys. You got a guy in Virginia. You have, New York is close. So I mean, you have a lot of choices. I mean, you should get on the train, man, and take a trip to the city, have some consultations. Maybe you can see what's his name? The guy in Virginia. I can't remember his name now.
Oh, Lindsay. I actually have met with Dr. Lindsay, and honestly, his work looks okay, but I see better out there.
And listen, and that's the thing, I'm glad that you met with him. So now you have an idea of what he's doing, and it's not something that meets your particular standards for whatever reason, and that's good to know.
Yeah, and I've met with Dr. Vogel in Baltimore, and from looking at all the line, I really like Dr. Cooley's work and what I see online, so I'm thinking of doing an online consult with him, and it's really not that far from where I am.
Well, and that's the thing. It's from Virginia or DC. It's a short flight. Just hop on a plane, man. Go to Charlotte. Go see him.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It really is.
Yeah. Because Spencer, I've heard you mention numerous times that you're a poor candidate for a hair transplant, but I haven't heard much detail about it. And the reason I ask is because I don't have quite as much coverage as you, but I look at your hair in the sort of the same way of what I'm blow drying it out and spraying the hell out of it, and it's sort of similar. So I'm curious as to why.
No, my reason is I'm not emotionally equipped for a fail, and I also do believe that I have too much hair to take that chance. Like, I mean, it's not the end of the world for me to blow dry my hair and to spray it and to add a little paint in the back. Yeah. Do I have can I fix it? Can I make it look better? Can I make my life easier if I have a really great transplant? For sure. But I'm not willing to take the risk at this point. As far as, why I'm not a candidate, that's the reason I'm not a candidate. Would a doctor look at me and say I'm not a candidate? Probably not. They'd say I have a pretty good donor area, good donor. Probably have maybe above average density, but slightly, mid-range or below average hair shaft diameter. So most doctors, and they've already offered me transplants, would say that I would probably make a good candidate because I'm in my 50s now. They believe that I'm relatively stable, but you never know what's going to happen. So the reason I'm not a good candidate is because I think I just have too much hair to lose.
Yeah, and you definitely have better coverage than I do, but I'm kind of doing a similar kind of style, and it's getting to where it's I've either got to buzz it off or do the transplant because it's really getting ridiculous at this point.
Similar kind of style, but it's ridiculous. Okay, I'm just following that away, dude.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Much more coverage.
I'm just kidding.
I'm making Patrick from DC. Okay.
I'm just fucking with you, man. Listen, take your time, though. I'm glad that you saw the local guys. That's good. And you ruled them out for your reasons. That's important. But, check out Dr. Cooley. Check out some guys in New York. This is a big decision.
And now I'm just curious, you find with the hair, because this is like my nightmare is the wind. So I've always got a cap in the car. If it's windy out, I have something to stick on. Or have you found that magic hairspray that, you don't need to worry about it?
Absolutely not. I'm a wreck at all times. I'm totally, I was in Manchester, and that's a cold, windy place. We had to go to this gala, which was at the stadium where the Manchester United, right, play.
Yeah.
And of course, Andrew and I get there late because we had actually work. We had gear to break down, do things like these doctors didn't have to do. We get there late, and we're trying to find the entrance. We're walking around, and like the wind is gusting. I'm like, holy shit! So I'm like doing this walk into the wind like this, just trying to keep it all together because I didn't bring any hairspray with me. Luckily, I think it wasn't too messed up by the time I got there, but it was stressful. It was stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God for alcohol. So
I feel like a hair transplant for me is not gonna. I'm still gonna be wholly no to Topic and hairspray, and it'll look a little better.
A lot of guys are. A lot of guys are because they get used to they get used to the illusion that they can create. That's why I don't use concealers right now. Contrary to what a doctor in England likes to tell his patients, I don't use concealer, and the reason I don't is because they work too good.
Yeah,
they work like I've talked to Spencer about this many times. I've mentioned on the air. When I use concealer, it's like, holy shit, this, like, I do have a full head of hair, except for my massive forehead that people like to point out. But it's like there is no weakness. You can't see any scalp. And that's not natural. It's not what you see in real life. Like, you got to be able to see some scalp, even on people with full heads of hair, especially in the crown. Like that little dot in the very center of the whirl pattern, or, like lifts up a little bit.
If you're looking at my paint job, I actually paint that in. I paint around that area in the part.
I know, yeah. He's a true professional concealer applicator. But yeah, I don't want to commit to that because it's just, yeah, it's addictive. And so when guys are used to that pre-hair transplant, and then they get the hair transplant and it grows in, a lot of times they're like, what the hell did I even spend this money for? I still have to use concealer.
Yeah.
Or I don't have to use as much concealer, but I'm still using it. So keep that in mind. I mean, if concealer and spray is a big part of your life and you like the way it looks, you might not be happy with a hair transplant.
Or you may be happy with it, but you just recognize that you're just going to have more hair to work with. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what you have to you have to go in there thinking, don't go in there thinking that you're going to be able to put these products on the sidelines for the rest of your life, because you're not. You're still going to be fucked up by the wind. You're still going to be fucked up by it not laying the way you want without hairspray. But at least if it's windy, you're going to have more coverage. But it's still going to get messed up.
Yeah.
That's just.
Do you guys have any opinion?
Sad part of life.
Using Propecia versus cutting up Proscar and using like 1.5. Break up one tablet of Proscar.
It's cheaper, and if we're brand whores, so for us, we're both not doctors, but
my big regret is that I switched to the generic several years ago, and now I'm wishing I hadn't. But now I'm back on the brand name, but it'd be cheaper to do the brand name Proscar and cut it up.
Yeah, I have no issue with it. Anyone who says that there's an issue with it doesn't make any sense. I always find it interesting that there were physicians for a while who were claiming that the drug itself is not distributed evenly. How is that possible? These things are made in vats.
Yeah.
I
always felt that was just like, it's like, who came up with that idea?
The people who wanted to just sell Propecia. Yeah. All right, man. Listen, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for the call. Do not jump into surgery, man. And I think Joe's right. Go ahead.
I've been looking at this for 2 years, so I haven't jumped yet. So
yeah, and listen, trust me. I don't. You said, are you single?
Yeah.
No one gives a shit if you paint your head if it looks good.
What's that?
That's right.
No one gives a shit if you paint your head as long as you look good.
Oh yeah, until you get it all over their sofa or something.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a different story. Bring your own plastic sheet.
Yeah, really.
But you have. We have to I want to try to start to normalize this stuff so people could really understand it's not the end of the world. Listen, I was at this conference, man. It was just like, I tell the world that I paint my head and it's full of hairspray, and it doesn't make a difference. I was out hanging out with some buddies, and Andrew Zarian was there, and we were at another hotel, and it was just like, people ask what I did, tell them. And they look at your hair and they're like, oh, you got a full head of hair. I explain it. Doesn't make a difference. They still want to sleep with you. As long as you're open with it and you don't seem fazed by it, It's just the way that it is. Their entire faces are covered with makeup.
Have you found a way to make? Because it works well on the bald spot in the back, but the thinning in the front, I can't really find a way to get the topic to look okay. I mean, it just looks ridiculous.
It's tough, man. They provide these kind of I guess they're like templates that you kind of put into your hairline to try to make it easier. It doesn't look good in my view. I mean, I've used some Dermatch in the hairline, depending on the day. If I use the wrong shampoo, and when you live with somebody for so long, sometimes you're not using the right shampoo. And then I notice it's a little thinner. I have to go on camera. I use a little Dermatch in the hairline. It looks okay, but if you looked really close, it could be visible. So that's a tough call, man. I mean, it really works on the top of your head best.
Yeah, no, it works really well on the top of my head. I had a work meeting, and they were taking photos, and I ended up getting the back of my head, like, right in the corner of one photo, and I was, like, really glad I had put the topic on, because I really don't put it on that often, because it makes such a freaking mess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, I was photographed from the back a lot at this conference, and I see them online, and you guys are going to see some videos, and it's just like, psst, damn, I'm good. All right, man. Listen, good luck.
All right. No, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks for calling.
What are you going to say, Joe?
I was going to say, I mean, it is a work of art. Every time I've seen your crown and what you do with your hair paint, your head paint, it's a miracle. Like
it's a miracle.
No one, you have to tell people. No one guesses.
I'm a walking miracle.
I'm not touching that.
All right. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Mordy from Florida.
Mordy.
What's up? Good to hear from you.
Dude, I miss you guys. Oh my God. I was in ball truth withdrawal.
You know what? I was too. I mean, the thing is, I was working really hard and doing this conference. I essentially was doing the Bald Truth 8 hours a day, just interviewing doctors. It was fucking insane. Now I look at these guys and they talk about how much work they're doing when they go to these conferences. They got to give a couple of talks. Well, I had to do that too, but I had to do a show while the conference was going on all day for 3 days.
Gee.
I don't think I'm going to do that again. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule 1 day of broadcasting, maybe 2 at the most. And the problem is if I go with Andrew Zarian, there's drinking involved. So by the 3rd day, I am just exhausted. So.
Yeah. Well, I did see your Instagram stuff, and I've liked every Instagram post that I've seen. So just,
Thank you.
Representing, I saw Andrew with his painted on eyebrows, or at least they look like they're painted on. They're so freaking dark.
It's unbelievable. Actually, it actually gives, I never really think about my eyebrows too much unless I'm sitting next to, I had to take a picture with Andrew, and it basically looks like I have like some sort of like deficiency compared to this guy. His entire head is an eyebrow.
He's Brooke Shield, 1982.
It's worse. I mean, better or worse, but it's just, it literally is such an important factor to his appearance. It makes up so much of his face. I mean, they're beautiful. I mean, he has he has eyes and eyebrows like a woman. But women, they actually pay money to have them tattooed like that.
He's a Kardashian.
He absolutely.
Yeah. And then there's this other picture of you with this guy who looks almost like you, could be your brother or something.
That's what people say all the time. Ken Anderson, Dr. Ken Anderson. I'm like, I'm not his older brother, man.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a good time. Do you feel that you made a difference at this conference?
Actually, I'm gonna. This may sound obnoxious, but Joe and I were talking about it the other day. The change is palpable already. It's significant. The politicians are fucking freaking out. When John Cole, he may be listening, I don't know, but he sat down and he actually said this on the broadcast when we were interviewing him at the end of the show, and he's like, "Listen, man, we doubled our attendance because people wanted to see you," and that was a great feeling. But to me, what that meant was, people are sick and tired of what's going on in the industry. Even a lot of the doctors. I'm out there promoting change. There is actually a solution to all of this. And these guys wanted to hear about it, and they wanted to be a part of something like, really the catalyst for change in this industry. So when you think about a small conference like this, I don't think, just to put things in perspective, the biggest Congress of hair transplant surgeons in the world every year, I think last year they had, 500 and some odd people, Joe?
I don't know about last year, but I know like in Vegas, which I think was the biggest one they've had in a long time, it was between 600 and 700.
Now, is that registered doctors or just people?
Just people.
Yeah.
Like registered attendees.
So they had like 210 registered physicians at this conference, and this is just us, was supposed to be a small conference. That's unheard of. So, I mean, to answer your question, we definitely made a tremendous impact. And what we're going to be doing in the next few months is going to completely change the field.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely saw the head blade logo in your pics. So it's
well, they paid me a lot of money, so I had to make that as big as possible.
Well, good for you, man.
But that's the thing, in the industry, everyone was asking me, head blade, isn't that like a shaver? Why are you promoting head blade? I'm like, guys, you need to listen to my program, first of all, especially if you're in the IHRS. Surgery is a last resort. It's the perfect combination. Try to shave your head first. Mm-hmm. That's what we preach. So, but yeah, they were really, head blade was great. They were really gracious. They, they were like, you know what? We see this as a tremendous opportunity. We did a lot of people who are looking at your market, which is the hair transplant market and hair loss market, and they may be better served by shaving their heads.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
As a matter of fact, while I was in Bald Truth Withdrawal, I actually watched the Bald Cafe a few times. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that particular channel. And he had a guy on there who shaved his head on camera.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
The Bald Cafe. So is that like a head shaving channel?
Yeah, there's this English guy. And he's got a channel called, I think it's called the Bald Cafe. I think that's what it's called.
I have to check it out.
He basically, he does a blog and he talks about, what he went through, and, he, very handsome guy, probably a good 6'2", very, very, very articulate fellow. And, he showed pictures of when he was in his teens and early 20s, and he had a nice thick mane. And then he talked about like how he started losing it and, different haircuts that he had to do. And then one day he just decided to shave it. And, and he talks about some of the stresses that he went through and how to normalize that whole experience for himself. And, he basically advocates living bald. And he talks, and he's reviewing products. Like he reviewed a couple of different implements for shaving. I think he's reviewed some whatever, some sort of topical, something to get rid of some of the shine, or plus he's doing things with beards because he's like this really thick beard, and talks about beard maintenance and
Look, I advocate that too, and I think it's great. I think more people should watch channels like that, and it'll give them a little confidence. I'm just not equipped to deal with it, man. I mean, that's why I do what I do. That's it. There's so many of us who just aren't equipped to deal with it. But if you're on the edge and if you're kind of sitting on the fence, like maybe I can deal with it, go over to that side. That's the easier side of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So speaking of dealing with it, it's funny. One of the things that I've tried to do here in Florida is to try to develop some new hobbies, and one of them is basically going to see live music, which is something that I did a fair amount in New York, and became friends with this band. And one of these kind of fantasies that I had was to be like Doc McGee. I don't know if you're familiar with who Doc McGee was.
No.
He was the manager for Motley Crue.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I decided just for kicks to help a band get a gig in New York City. So I found a band out here, and I actually have some friends in New York, and I was able to get them a slot, and I helped them to get their show out there, and they performed really well. It was actually a really great experience. But anyway, to make a long story short, they're having some trouble, and they, we were talking about possibly me standing in for one of the bandmates, and the singer is like, dude, he says you're really good, but you gotta let go of that hair on your head. You gotta shave it. And I'm just like, oh man.
Well, you know what?
He had no fucking idea all the shit that I've been going through over this last year and like 2-3 months to try to get what little is now there.
Yeah, but maybe if you're in the band now, you can shave it.
Yeah. You know, you know what? I've buzzed it down, and you know, that's buzzing it down is kind of where I feel comfortable. I honestly don't like the whole Telly Savalas thing. I don't like it. You know, and again, I mean, because of my heritage, you know, it just doesn't sit well with me. So I just, you know, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna manage. I don't need to be on stage that badly. But anyway, I just wanted to.
Why don't you just get some cool hats and go on stage, man?
Yeah, cool hats is the way that you guys do it a lot.
Yeah, again, he's the band leader. He gets to make the decisions about who he's on stage with. So, you know, whatever. And I've done like the live karaoke. As a matter of fact, they have it Tuesday nights, but I had to see you guys, so I decided to stick it at home.
Yeah, you have to send us a video of you performing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
I will.
We'll play it on the show.
Oh no.
Of course.
Yeah. One of the other things that I wanted to mention, I think I talked to you guys about this because I took your advice and I bought one of these Chinese laser helmets.
Good for you.
$115.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $115. It's basically a bicycle helmet with a whole bunch of little lights inside of it.
Right.
And it came with like a blue pair of sunglasses. And, you know, I mean, from what I can tell, they are lasers. They seem to be.
It's the exact same diode strength as everything that you're buying in the U.S. from doctors' offices, period. Yeah. And you probably got something with it. Did you get something with 240 diodes in it?
This one was, I want to say that this has got, I think it's got 64 of them in it. Or, you know, it's got a fair number of them. I mean, it's like, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows by, oh, God. Maybe 12 columns. I don't know.
Look, according to the experts, 240 diodes is the magic number. We don't know if that's true or not, but that's what everyone is selling. That's how they are leveraging their laser caps and helmets over everyone else's.
My personal feeling on that is that's just an excuse to sell the higher tiered models, because as long as you've got coverage all over the area of loss, as long as it's more than just one, you know, where it's obviously covering all the area of loss, that has to be enough. Like you don't need one laser diode for every follicle you want to rejuvenate.
Or per centimeter of your scalp.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to that.
But I bought it. Yeah, so I got it pretty much just as you guys dropped off the air, and I've been throwing it on every other day for like 20 minutes, basically. It's just what the fuck, you know.
Now, does it have a battery pack?
No. It's got 2 USB cables, so I just got to plug them into the USB hub and just sit on couch for 20 minutes.
This did, you know, you can carry a little USB thing. You can jog with it like they have in the commercials.
Wants to do that.
I'm just
kidding. So hang on.
Ride your bike.
So hang on. So it's got 2 USB cables that exit the helmet to go into like a battery pack or something.
You could put it into anything that'll drive USB.
Yeah.
You could probably just put it into some just generic USB battery.
You can put it into your computer. You can sit there and work.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I mean, it's
actually more advanced than some of the caps that are being sold in the U.S.
I was gonna say, with that USB battery pack thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's It was $115 on. They have them on Amazon. I got this one on like what do they call that damn thing? You know, the Chinese
Alibaba.
Oh God,
Alibaba.
The other one, the Ali Easy or Ali whatever the retail one.
AliExpress.
You know, AliExpress, that's the one. That's right. And there's like, you know, and it's typical of AliExpress. There's like 16 different vendors, and they're all selling the same product, basically.
Oh yeah.
And they're all, you know. So
it's great. Listen, when it's time for me to sell out, I'm going to buy them in bulk. I can get them for a few dollars. You know, maybe $12, $15 a piece.
Yeah.
Slap the American Hair Loss Association on the box, and sell them for $400 or $500. Done.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
So it's one of those things. It's like, fuck it. It was cheap. It looks fairly well built. The only thing I will say about it is that they generate a fair amount of heat. So I had to put little plastic standoffs on them to basically make sure that these fucking little metal ferrules that are on there don't touch my head because I don't want to get burned.
Right. Interesting.
But other than that, I mean, it seems like it's for the price. It's like it's like fuck, man. I mean, I usually pay about that much for a month's worth of Propecia anyway. Maybe a month and a half. So
I think this actually would be a good article for Consumers Digest. I think I'm going to contact the editor and see if I can get something on that because that would be really great for them to compare these products that are being sold in the U.S., being sold in doctors' offices, compared to the stuff they can get in like Alibaba and places like where you get yours.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of those things where you just you don't have to drop a whole lot of money, and if it works, great, and if not, well, it didn't cost you much, so who cares?
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, the hair's it's more than it has been, more than it was when I first started. Growth has not been spectacular, but it's there. People notice it so much so that they tell me to shave it off.
Dude, I think the next time the guy tells you to shave your head, you should show him your helmet.
Yeah.
And just be like, listen, dude, you have no clue what I'm going through.
I got way too much money invested.
Pull up an episode of The Bald Truth and say, I actually listen to these guys on a weekly basis.
He'll never feel like, dude, I don't think we want you to manage our band anymore. You're out of your fucking mind.
Listen, Morty, good luck. I'm glad that you called, and you sound like you're doing well. And it's great.
Yeah,
I mean, you're doing something that you like to do. Maybe this is your thing, man. Maybe you're going to be a band manager.
It would be cool. We're gearing up. They're going to be playing New York in October. They already have a showcase. And
what's the name of the band?
To get them a gig. Yeah. The name of the band is you're going to laugh. The name of the band is the Wilkoff Project.
Wow.
That's the name of the singer. Yeah, the singer's Matt Wilkoff, and they're a three-piece. They kind of he sounds like Chris Cornell.
It's nice that you're working with Jews.
Matt is most definitely Jewish. It's a three-piece. The drummer is he's not Jewish, but he's got a Jewish last name. Is Baumgartner, and he's shaved straight. Like he is straight bald with a beard. He's got this big giant they call him the Mad Persian because he has this like really really thick beard, and he's got some serious eyebrows too. So And the bass player is a former member of a band from the late '80s, and they sound really good. They put on a show here in Lauderdale last weekend. I've got another friend of mine out in California whose band is called Cultural Warfare, and they're really great. I'm trying to bring them down here to Florida. I'm working on trying to get them a gig down here for either for January, perhaps sooner. We'll see. And yeah, I mean, I haven't made a single dime. It's cost me a ton of money, but I don't care. It's fun.
It's okay. Listen. You're in your 50s now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be 50 in July.
You'll be 50 in July. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what's life about? You got to have a little fun.
Absolutely.
You got to figure out what you really like to do, and then just do it. And people have a hard, trouble doing that. But you don't have kids, right? You're not married.
No.
You're like a kid yourself, man. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Pretty much.
All right, Morty. Listen, good luck.
All right, my friend.
All right.
Take it
care.
easy, guys.
Good to hear from you, buddy.
Next time. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And, I mean, FSK, I can answer the question. Am I attracted to Andrew Zarian sexually? Wouldn't you like to know? What kind of fucking question is that? Why can't you just say someone has amazing eyebrows, a friend of yours, and happen to say, say somebody is attractive or good looking as a man? Every time I say that, do I have to say no homo like these kids say today?
I don't even know if they say that anymore. They used to 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
But do they say that now?
Are you allowed to say that now?
Good. No homo. It's like, What?
888-659-3727. We're definitely having a little bit of a gate problem. So when I'm talking, you can't really talk over me. You kind of cut out. I don't know why that's happening.
A what problem?
Gating problem.
It was ironic that this came right after you're asking addressing FSK's question, because when you said it sounds like it looks like we're having a gay problem.
Oh.
I was like, something probably didn't make it through the transmission. What'd you just say?
Well, let's see who this is. Maybe we'll talk
All
about gay and dating and stuff like gays and dating and Andrew Zarian's eyebrows. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, you know who this is. You know I was going to call, boys.
Hey, Nico. What's happening,
Hello.
man?
How you guys doing, all right?
Are you attracted to Andrew Zarian?
No comments.
Yeah.
But no, it's not a gay thing.
Yeah. No homo.
No, you guys, no homo.
No. No, I don't know. I think the eyebrows seem a little extreme, actually, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, now you're cracking on Andrew Zarian's eyebrows.
No, yeah, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure with all the times I've called these cracks, some shit about how much I call. So, but no cracks.
So what's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Just checking in, just saying hello. Yeah, I was thinking, man, I don't think I have too many questions, maybe one, but I was thinking just a lot about, someone earlier in the chat mentioned about, like, asking about, like, pulling off a 5,000 graft procedure. And, you know, for sure over the last year, I'm like, oh, man, wouldn't it be great to bang out a nice large mega session, as sketchy and waste of donor and all that shit is. But it's funny, I was looking at Dr. Cooley's videos recently, and I think it's his second to last video. He has a guy on there, and just, I know today's message is all about, and always the messages don't have a hair transplant, but I was looking at the guy was definitely full gray, and he had a, you know, average size strip, I think. And it's just so funny how, like, the contrast factor is so huge, and when you go small and it goes back to the naturalness, I was like, man, there's some spots that look like thin and areas where there looks like there's, well, it would be nice that if there was hair, if it was me, but I'm like, man, the shit looks so natural, and it's a small amount of hair.
Well, you're going to see a guy.
If you're going to go for it, that's the shit. That's right there.
Well, you're going to see a guy that I interviewed, a Bulgarian doctor who brought his patient to the conference.
Are you sure? Hang on. Are you sure you want to reveal? Are you going to name his name?
I'm not going to name his name now.
Yeah. Okay. Because people will start losing their minds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he provided, now the number's questionable. I thought he said 1,400, and then someone said it was 1,200. But whatever it was over 1,000 grafts. It was like 1,200 grafts in one surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was over 2 days.
1,000.
What?
14,000.
That's what I
said
meant.
1,400.
Yeah, 14,000.
Oh, holy
Yeah.
shit, that's quite the difference.
14,000. Yeah, 14,000.
What the
Context
fuck?
is everything.
Now, this was done on a famous guy in Bulgaria. The guy came because he was so happy with his results, and he wanted to, you know, show them off. This was done FUE. Older guy, maybe my age or older. The guy was at least in Norwood 5, 6, probably Norwood 6. His hair looks incredible. This was a home run of home runs. His donor does not look depleted, does not look moth-eaten. This was the perfect fucking storm.
Oh, this was all FUE?
All FUE.
Holy shit.
It was unbelievable.
How the fuck is that possible?
Well, you guys will see it. It was possible.
Yeah.
This guy was able to make this happen, but obviously patient selection is key. And if it failed, this guy would have been fucked up.
Yeah.
But it didn't fail. And he looks
lucky
incredible. I mean, a totally different dude. And, you know, I mean, I don't like to touch anybody's hair, even though everyone's like, touch it. I'm like, I don't need to touch it. I could see it, you know? But it looked incredible. So, of course, the doctor's going through his donor and showing me the donor. It was like a miracle.
Wow.
Have you ever seen anything like that,
Are you
Joe?
able to say the doctor's name or no? Not yet.
Not yet. Well, once you guys see the interview, you'll see who it is.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. What do you
I've seen some pretty amazing transformations in my career, but I've not seen a 14,000 graft surgery. Especially, well, I've seen 14,000 graft surgeries, but none done in one procedure or one visit.
Right.
That's extreme.
Well, it almost kills my message. I was going to say Doc Scully banged out like a FUT, I think it was, for over 3,000 grafts, and the guy didn't have a ton of hair. You know, it's a very modest procedure, and the shit just looked natural. And I think that's what I was trying to get at, is naturalness is so big.
Well,
and
this doesn't
and
diminish
that's
anything
obvious,
what
but-
you're saying, because naturalness. I don't care how much hair it is. If it doesn't look natural, then it's a waste of time. It's got to look natural. That's king by far.
Yeah.
Numbers are numbers, but naturalness is that's where it's at.
And I would say this guy looked. I mean, it looked 100. I would never be able to spot that he had a hair transplant.
Wow.
And he just happened to look natural as well, but it still doesn't diminish what you're saying, because I mean, 3,000 grafts or 14,000 grafts, natural is what you want.
Yep. Yeah, scope out that second to last video if you guys ever have time on Dr. Cooley's page. I was really impressed with it. Small numbers, and gray hair, and shit looked thin in different areas, but it looked just so natural. It was
Well,
great.
that's the thing. It's all about direction, distribution, hair to skin contrast. I mean, there's so many different factors in making hair transplant work.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
And one of the things that allows you to see just how natural his work is the fact that he's the first doctor in the world to standardize on using 4K Ultra HD footage to show his results, right? Like we talked about this when we first started working together in 2015, and he didn't even have a YouTube channel. Like he did, but he had like an interview from 10 years ago on there, and
like my channel.
yeah, last time we updated was before the Civil War.
Yeah,
and so that was one of the things. It's like, you know what, you need to start doing video for your results. He'd never done it before, and it's like, go get a 4K video camera. He already had a great photo area, so it's just like, use the same area. And every result video since he started documenting is an Ultra HD 4K, and it really helps to show the details. It really does. And so I'm glad you're able to see the result and see how natural it looks. I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, even with spots that weren't filled in or thin on the sides, I mean, it would just look fucking stunning to me. So, whatever. And he doesn't use any of that shitty music on his videos, which is great. That's pretty shitty music, which fucking kills it for me.
I gotta tell you, man, I have seen some guys, even IHS members, who put some really fucked up music on their videos. There's one guy in particular. I'm not even gonna name his name, and I had said something to them, and I'm just like, what's going on here? It just distracts from what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
You're a fucking doctor, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like,
are you talking
summer
about
camp
3493, 3,493 grafts?
I think so. Let me scope it out. But it's the second to last video, I'm pretty sure.
Or you said second to last video?
I believe so, yeah.
3,500 grafts. Okay. Yeah.
And guys in the chat room, man,
not
there's
a lot
about
in the
50 people in the chat room right now, or something like that, 47. Just like the show. It helps. All you have to do is
Yeah, Joe, it's
click it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Joe, it's the one that's 3694 grafts.
Okay, because when you're going to his channel, you're seeing something different than I'm seeing. So,
all right,
3, 6, 4. It's all right.
From 4 months ago.
See. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, on the full video list, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just comb through, like sides look thin, and there's some spots that are a little, bare, or just, I don't know, something about it that it just fucking kills. It's just awesome. Whatever. Just thought I'd share.
All right, man. Well, Nico, as usual, it's a pleasure. And how you doing though? How's everything emotionally and shit like that?
No, I mean, pretty much same old. I'm sure I sound pretty good, calm and all, but
you do.
I got, I'm just letting shit ride out and just trying to get past everyone else's observations and my own. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm just letting shit fucking happen and without freaking out too much. So sucks. Like definitely have some shit going on, but trying to sort it out and whatever, man.
All right.
But, thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, hang in there. All right.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
Thank
for the
you.
call. All right.
Good hearing from you, buddy.
You bet. Thanks, Joe. Take care.
See ya.
So I have to kind of like, even when you're speaking with the caller, you kind of cut out a little bit. So I have to, when we're talking, I have to take a beat, let you say something.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah. And that's how we're going to have to do the rest of the show. Guys, we do have a line open, actually a couple of lines open, 888-659-3727. I know we started late, but I cannot run over today. I have a dinner to go to. So I got to drive. Kind of could be a distance. It depends on the traffic right now. But we're going to call it a night soon. If we don't get any calls, we're going to call the show now. So we'll give you a few minutes, a few seconds, 30 seconds to call in. 888-659-3727. Toll free, 888-659-3727. By the way, I did see some of the guys who were actually some of the forum guys at the conference, the guys who actually support this broadcast. Maybe you can talk about them a little bit, Joe.
Well, can you hear me right now? Just making sure my volume is okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, we got some great friends in the forum world. Who should I start with? I'll start off with hairlossexperiences.com. They are in the UK, where this fantastic conference was that Spencer just came back from. Hairlossexperiences.com is primarily an English language forum, and they've got doctors and patients from all over the world. So it's not just limited to the UK market. They got them from all over Europe, all over the States, and of course the UK. The great thing about this forum is that the guy that runs it, number one, he's a repair patient like myself. So he understands the problems associated with hair transplant surgery on the negative side, but he also understands the benefits of it as a repair patient, just like myself. And he works tirelessly behind the scenes, helping other repair patients find the solution to their problems. And so it's always a pleasure to give a shout out to hairlossexperiences.com. Go check them out. The second one is bellycapelli.forumfree.it. They were also in attendance at FUE Europe Manchester meeting 2019. The owner and operator of that particular forum is also a repair patient. I've known him for many, many years. He's a hell of a nice guy, and he also works with patients to try to help find the solutions. Great list of physicians that are participating on that forum, sharing their results, and of course, a lot of great patients sharing their experiences as well. The great thing about any of your modern internet browsers like Chrome or Microsoft Edge, they automatically will translate with permission any of these websites that you go to that are not native English language. So that's bellycapelli.forumfree.it. And finally, we have international-hairlossforum.com. It's the French hair loss and hair restoration forum.
Now was that guy there? Because there was somebody on the panel, and he was very quiet, didn't introduce himself to me.
Yes, I saw him on there. Yeah, he was there. He was there. The guy with the glasses.
Yeah, why don't we say hi?
He's a shy guy, man.
You know,
he's a very quiet guy. Yeah. So
I feel bad. I would have given him a hug and thanked him.
You know what? I'll give his email address. He can send an email hug.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But he's a really nice guy.
I got the pressure to send him an email.
I know. Well, now he's going to know because it's on air. But French language forum. It's the biggest one in the French-speaking world, and of course, just like the other two, we got a lot of clinics sharing results and patients sharing their experiences. That's international-hairlossforum.com. Check them out.
All right, guys, we'll take one phone call, and then I'm going to go. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is James from Texas.
James, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey.
Good. How are you doing? I'm glad you guys are back.
Well, I'm glad to be back, man. What's up?
Not much. Just here. It's like everyone else is, waiting, patiently waiting. But I'm glad. Like I said, again, I'm glad to have you back. And I think before you were gone, I didn't get to wish you happy birthday. I know this is really late, but belated happy birthday. I hope you've been enjoying it so far.
Thank you, man. No, actually, when you get to my age, birthdays are miserable. But I'm glad that I wake up and I could see.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
birthday consisted of us. His birthday consisted of us sitting in front of our respective televisions, watching the same soap opera, and crying and eating bonbons and drinking vodka. It was bad.
That was your birthday, dude.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
like the Scarface movie. Scarface movie says that every day above ground is a good day.
Every day. Well, that's you know what? It's kind of like that until you have trouble taking a piss. Now, luckily, I am not at that point in my life. You know, I do speak to people who are my age, and they talk about all their problems. I'm like, man, you are fucked up. You got to take care of yourself. You know, but most of these guys are like overweight. People are messes, man. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay. Take care of yourself now, dude. I'm telling you. You know, I went to this conference. I'm not saying that there are plenty of guys who take care of themselves, but some guys, you just like, what the fuck? You're 46? You know? I'm just like, holy shit. They got like, they're carrying like medication and all kinds of shit.
So, yeah, and then on the other side of that, you have some that are older, but they look way younger, and you're like, wow, you're really that age?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one guy that I know like that in the entire industry. I'm just kidding. Anyway, there's two. But yeah, man, I mean, thank you for that. All I can tell you is, especially the young guys who are listening, even if you're dealing with hair loss now, focus on just getting your shit together and doing the right thing for your body. And I'm not going to preach. Have fun, go out drinking, do what you do, but for the most part, live your life pretty clean. Because when you get in your 50s, man, you really see people are dropping dead. Some of them are like, they're just fucked up. And you don't want to be that way. You never think it's going to happen. But when you actually see it in front of you, you see it happening to your friends, you start to recognize, the importance of taking care of yourself. So, rant over. But no, I appreciate the happy birthday.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure. Yeah, I just have one question for you guys. Just
sure.
One. It just came off the top of my head. So for diffuse pattern alopecia, DHT, right, it affects the whole entire scalp versus like the receding. So with the hair follicles that are right next to each other, right, does diffuse pattern, is it more of like a miniaturization, like synchronized miniaturization, or is it possible for one hair follicle to not miniaturize and then the one right next to it completely be gone and the one next to it is miniaturizing? I don't know if that makes sense. Like gaps, is it possible for gaps of hair follicles to be dead amongst the head, or does it look thin because of just an overall miniaturization? I don't know if my question.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. It's generally just I don't want to say synchronized, because they're all going through their normal growth cycles. It's a shorter growth cycle.
Right.
And the hairs that are coming in, because it's a shorter growth cycle and because they're all being affected by DHT, the hair shaft is finer. So it's not like if it was synchronized, then all of your hair would fall out at once and then start to grow back at the same time as well. And that's not what's happening. It is random, just like it is on the rest of the scalp. It's just these particular hairs are all being affected at the same time and still going through the regular cycles, but much shorter, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Because I wish I had one of those. I don't know what they're called, but I guess the magnification tools that doctors use.
Go online, look up the densitometer. Densitometer. You can get something that just connects to your laptop, and that's it.
You can get them for $50.
Yeah.
They
or
actually
less.
hook up wirelessly to your iPhone.
Yeah.
Or your laptop if you want.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that the hair follicles in between can die while the ones next to it can still, I guess, survive.
They can miniaturize while the other ones are growing, to a robust way normally.
Are you having is it obvious looking at the top of your scalp and is it obvious from looking at the top of your scalp that you're a diffuse thinner?
Well, I have the normal 7 pattern. Like it's very very thin, but I have hair. But it's obvious that I have hair. But it's if you look at it, it just looks thicker on the sides, and even though I have hair throughout my entire scalp, but so I was just wondering if it's primarily just thinning, overall thinning, or are there like some gaps? You know, something that I can't see with like a magnification tool, to where there's the hair follicle missing there. Or,
well, that's the whole point of densitometry, is that they'll say, okay, well, look, you have 30% miniaturization in this area and 20% in this area or 40% in this area. That's just the way that it normally works.
Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate it.
All right, James. Listen, good luck. I'll talk.
Good hearing from you.
Good hearing from you. Talk to you next week, probably.
Of course.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Glad you guys are back.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
I'm going to call it a night.
Let's do it. Done.
Websites, hairtransplantmentor.com, Joe Tillman's personal website. Check it out. Everything Joe Tillman, almost everything, at least when it comes to his hair. And check out his YouTube channel, which is where we air the program, besides on The Bald Truth and all the other resources. But we want to build this channel. So check out youtube.com/hairtransplant mentor. Correct? It's been a while.
Yes.
Yeah. And ring that bell. Like the show, guys. We've got a lot of guys in the room and we only have 20 likes. And 2 pricks disliked it.
Help some brothers out.
Yeah. Come on, man. Jesus Christ. We want to help you guys. 20 likes. Let's see 22 right now. I don't know.
Do a refresh. Where's my refresh? There it is. Hold on. And we got no other likes. Really, guys?
Motherfuckers.
No extra likes.
Everyone's a taker, man. That's just the way it works. My website, thebaldtruth.com, for archived broadcasts of this show eventually. Check out thebaldtruth.com. Also, you could subscribe on iTunes to The Bald Truth. Should be getting some stuff up shortly. We're definitely working towards having things done in a more timely fashion, but you got to understand, I work for a living, man. Besides doing this program, there's a lot of other things that we do. My primary focus has never been, which maybe it should have been, pushing out content. But, I used to be on the radio, so I did my show, and that was it. And then I worked for the rest of the week. Now we got to start thinking differently, and we're going to. And there's going to be a lot of changes in the field this year I'm very excited about. All of you guys are going to be made privy to it, and you will eventually benefit from it, I hope. If you decide, obviously, to have a hair transplant, then I think it's going to be a significantly safer place in the not too near or not too distant future, I should say. Guys, websites also, ihs.org if you're considering surgical hair restoration, AmericanHairloss.com. See, I'm getting tired, man. AmericanHairloss.org, rather, which is the American Hair Loss Association. And if you want to interact with other hair loss sufferers, you can check out our message forum. But please remember, it's a message forum, even though we do our best to moderate it pretty heavily. You always have to take anything that's written by an anonymous person, with a grain of salt. So that is baldtruthtalk.com. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
You're a smart motherfucker. That's right. And now something completely different.
Why am I playing that?
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of